Uh, Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is Tuesday, 6th of April. Yesterday was the first Monday of the month. It is the 5th April. I just want to thank everyone coming through on Castbox and YouTube. I did schedule for quarter past 1. We're starting a bit in front of time. And it is the prodigious, the prominent Professor Johnson. I just want to say thank you all so much for coming through, people vibing, people sharing, and getting more listeners. So actually coming through, we've got about 150 listeners all told. I'm on Up Live TV, I'm on YouTube, and I'm on Castbox. I'm Prox Art on Up Live. Thank you all so much, predominantly being here now. Today, the here and now. Flux with the flow and flux with the show. What do we have in store today? Yesterday, we had snow for about half an hour. What a waste of a snow. We're sharing all our information live on LinkedIn as well, Twitter. I'm not able to access my Facebook schedule, but everyone here today, that's all that matters. I am absolutely worldwide at the moment. I've got people from Indonesia, Pakistan, all over the nation listening. I'm overwhelmed of the audience we have. Shame we can't all become on YouTube, but eventually that will be amazing. But I want to give you our sponsors shout out, which is PSS Alarms. Always starting the show, giving a shout out to our sponsors. Castbox that is building up quite significantly in numbers. Thank you all for coming in. We've got 19 listeners on Castbox at the moment. PSS Alarms proudly sponsors Proclamation News. They have very etiquette and pragmatic work carried out. Etiquette with style, being professional, and pragmatic with sense, being very professional works. All works covered are included with central station monitored provided. All works recording is done to insurance requirements. This is a friend of mine's company. He's carried out works in Harry Kane's stepmother's house. Harry Kane is England's captain and Tottenham Hotspur's striker. He's carried out works in Hertfordshire, Potter's Bar. He's carried out professional works in Essex, such as Casbah restaurants, and many more big businesses, such as nightclubs, restaurants, factories, shopping outlets, all kind of work businesses carried out. Please call Tariq Khan. His contact details are 07908. Say that again. English code 07908 216 142. 07908 216 142. Installation and maintenance of intruder alarms, fire alarms, CCTV. All works guaranteed and certified to SSAIB standards. 24-hour call-out service. Can provide CCTV for pubs, clubs, restaurants, or new business setup. Secure your business. If you want a discount, you have to mention Professor Johnson. Secure your home, secure your business, secure your family's equity. Think safety, and your safety and priorities in your business are paramount. So think safety, think first. Secure your equity. There you go, ladies and gents. So I'm giving you the upbeat for the show of Proclamation News and Gavin. Thank you all so much. We're going to move on. What is in line? We've got stuff with 8 vehicles have been seized after police operation to crack down on crime. I mean, in Hertfordshire Constabulary, they are cracking down on crime. They always have been. They're very, very phenomenal the way they work in their constituency. Special constables took part in an operation in Comment Way, Hatfield, to tackle crime. So the credit goes out to Herts Police. Can I give them a pat on the back? They are key workers. 8 vehicles were seized by special constables in Hatfield as part of an operation targeting the fatal 4 offences, which include no seatbelt and mobile phone use. The operation took place in Common Way on Saturday, March 20th, and the special constables were supported by regular officers as well as special BCH road policing unit. So if you're one of them people that forgetting to put your seatbelt or answering your phone at this, at this wheel of the car, you're an idiot. Special constables took place in Operation Common Way Hatfield to tackle vehicle crime. Special Inspector Matthew Waite said, "I'm pleased to report that the operation was a great success, with 27 vehicles have been stopped. 6 traffic offences reports were issued for offences that include driving without insurance or tax, vehicle defects, excessive speed and not wearing a seatbelt, as well as plenty of words of advice. One defect rectification notice was issued and 8 vehicles were seized." Officers also took the opportunity to engage with the public on the current COVID-19. We're going to have a quick defect evaluation of what happened yesterday as well, shortly after this segment. Well, in Hatfield, Safer Neighbourhood Team Inspector Kash Hussain said, "I'm very grateful for the special constabulary help, especially as one of our current policing priorities is vehicle-related nuisance along Common Way. As well as the fatal 4, operations like this are a great opportunity to target travelling criminals using our roads. A lot of planning was put into organising the operation and to demonstrate the benefits and positive impact that joint working between the Special Constabulary and regularly colleagues can achieve. Despite the lockdown measures, this does not mean that criminals using the roads will go unchecked. Motorists should continue ensuring the roadworthiness of their vehicles and abide by traffic legislation and new roadmap out of lockdown. Special constables are part-time voluntary police officers with the same powers as regular police officers. If you witness vehicle crime taking place, you can contact the police at heart.police.uk/report, speak to an operator via online, web chat, and heart.police.uk/contact. It's important to contact legal authority if you see someone driving illegal, because they're putting not only their life at risk and all their other occupants and babies, passengers on board on other cars. It's shocking, absorbing information. Some people won't want to call the police because they think it's grasping. It's not. It's protecting the safety of everyone within the UK. If an idiot's about to get in a vehicle, no tax, no insurance, if he has an accident with your, I don't know, A roads, motorway, wherever he's going to go, he's then not liable for insurance for the person. Right, let's have actually, before we move on, next month, what's happening next month? Why is next month big for everyone? People's voice, people's opinion matters. We have May the 6th. Elections. Local police commissioners election. Local councillors election. So if you've got your poll card for the post, if not, you can apply for it online and then go to the poll station and put your vote, who you want to be the next police crime commissioner, who you want to be the next local councillor in your constituent. The local police crime commissioner is Cressy Dia, I believe. A lot of people are asking for Cressy Dia to be voted in the next election. I don't know what he's all about, but there you go. I've heard stories, so I don't know. It's everyone each to their own devices, but have a little look into it because it could make a big change to your children's future. Your voice matters, your opinion matters, and your vote matters. So it's very important to get behind your party policy and make your vote. I am obviously a conservative, but we all have our own own device, own opinions. Body found in Epping Forest pond in search for Richard Okorogheye. Inquiries are underway to identify the body. Police searching for missing Okorogheye has said a body has been found in Epping Forest. On Monday, the Metropolitan Police said they were informed by Essex Police that the body of a man was found in the pond in the woodland. Inquiries are underway to identify the body. Scotland Yard added that detectives investigating Mr. Okorogheye's disappearance are aware and his family are being supported by specially trained officers. Inquiries continue and officers remain at the scene for the fifth day. Mr. Okorogheye, who has sickle cell disease, left his family home in Ladbroke Grove area of West London on the evening of Monday, March the 22nd, and was reported missing 2 days later. Sickle cell is a horrible defect to have to your body. A statement issued by Metropolitan Police said, on April the 5th, the Met was informed by colleagues for Essex Police that the body of a man had been found in a pond in Epping Forest. The detective investigating the disappearance of 19-year-old Richard Okorogheye are aware Richard's family are supported by specially trained officers and kept updated with developments. Officers remain at the scene. CCTV in Loughton, Essex, in the early hours of Tuesday, 23rd of March, walking towards Epping Forest. Police drivers had previously been seen in a body of water in the woodland. Do you reckon he's taken his own life? Because sickle cell is very... I mean, I've got secondary brain. I've always thought I had sickle cell because the mental torture that I've been suffering with the cold weather. And not being able to get employed is very, very straining on your mental health. And in not getting that support, not getting knowledge, maybe he thought the only way out is to take myself out of the situation, out of the equation. EasyJet 2-test travel plan is too expensive. The boss of EasyJet has said testing requirements under proposed traffic light system for the international travel would be too expensive. Under the system, no isolation would be necessary on return to the UK from the so-called green countries, but pre-departure and post-arrival tests would be required, potentially costing up to £200 each. Thank you ever so much for that gift, Anna. Johan Lundgren said he wouldn't open up to international travel for anyone, but only those who can afford it. Mr. Lundgren told the BBC's Today programme that the cost of getting tests would exceed a typical EasyJet fare. On Sunday, plans for a risk-based system to restart foreign travel were outlined, in which countries would be classified as green, amber or red based on their infection rates and vaccination coverage. Hope you're well there, young lady. However, while the Prime Minister said he was hopeful that non-essential foreign travel could begin again the 17th of May, he added that no more data was needed before the firm decision could be taken. Mr. Lundgren said, if you are ticking all of those boxes to become a green destination, multiple tests don't make sense to me, and it would add cost and complexities. He said that the testing requirement for those countries was concerning, but added that we still expected holidays in the summer months of July and August would be able to go ahead. Scientists, ministers recently warned that holidays to destinations such as France where COVID cases are rising are unlikely, but Mr. London said that a huge amount of pressure built up to now the country to get going and make sure they can follow the example of the UK in its vaccine rollout. Hello, Mr. Manaka, how you doing, buddy? Other travel industry figures also called for clarity following the Prime Minister's latest announcement of lockdown restrictions easing. The Business Travel Association said the announcement was beyond disappointment and called for a clear pathway to international travel and trade. Its chief executive, Clive Ratton, said moves to open borders and once again been kicked down the road. The boss of travel firm Thomas Cook, Alan French, also told BBC's Wake up the money that lack of clarity around that type of test might be required for passengers and when they could need to be taken was let down. He said that overall there were glimmers of good news, in that the earliest date of travel resuming on the 17th of May was not pushed back, but actually the details were missing, and that was a disappointing, which he has said. Disappointed. On Monday, Mr. Johnson said he did not want to see coronavirus re-imported from abroad and urged people to wait for a report from the Global Travel Task Force on the 12th of April. But Gemma Antrobus, owner of the independent travel company Hashmere Travels, warned that the business owners like herself face a difficult path. Disappointed is putting it mildly, where he hoped confidence would start to pick up and more people would be interested in booking holidays. That just won't come this week. She added that some customers have now moved bookings for holidays 5 times amid changing restrictions. Every week we don't have the confidence for consumers, business owners like myself. Just wonder what lies ahead. Hope you're all having some of this is sinking in, to some of your day-to-day regime, maybe some plans for your future family's holiday. We're going to look at the Tokyo's Olympics. These are big things, big events that could happen around the globe that people, possibly going to book a ticket to go and see the North Korean Olympics. Something on your to-do list to go and watch Olympics live. Tokyo Olympics. North Korea to skip games over COVID-19 fears. North Korea has announced it will not take part in the Tokyo Olympics this year, saying the decision is to protect its athletes from COVID-19. The decision puts an end to South Korea's hopes of using the Games to engage with North amid stalled cross-border talks. In 2018, both sides entered a joint team in the Winter Olympics, which led to a series of historic summits. Pyongyang says it has no cases of the virus, but experts says this is unlikely. The country's health system is thought to be completely inadequate for dealing with the COVID pandemic. The BBC's Tokyo correspondent Rupert Wingfield Hayes reports the announcement makes North Korea the first major country to skip the delayed 2020 Games because of the pandemic. The event is due to begin on the 23rd of July. This will be the first time North Korea has missed the Summer Olympics since 1988, when it boycotted the Seoul Games during the COVID war. Hopes dashed. The decision was made at the Olympic Committee meeting on 25th of March, according to a report by the state site Sports of the DPRK. However, the International Olympic Committee (IOC) said it had not received an official application from North Korea to step back from the Games. It added, despite repeated requests, the country's National Olympic Committee had failed to hold a telephone conference during which the COVID-19 situation in North Korea should also have been discussed. North Korea has taken stringent measures against the virus. It broke out last year. It shut its borders in late January and later quarantined hundreds of foreigners in its capital. Since earlier last year, trains and wagons have been forbidden to enter and leave North Korea, with most international passenger flights stopped as well. Imagine how your country is about to hold the Olympics and then all of a sudden you can't attend because of what's going on. There were hopes of South Korea's President Moon Jae-in the Games could be a catalyst for progress between both Koreas. That had been in the case 2018 when North Korea sent 22 athletes to the Winter Olympics in South Korea, along with government officials, journalists, and 230 members cheering group. Among the contingent was North Korean leader Kim Jong-un's sister, Kim Yo-jong, a move which helped initiate diplomacy with South Korea and the US. The talks that followed that led a series of historic high-profile meetings between North Korean leader and former US President Donald Trump. There were hopes for improved relations after the meetings, but nothing materialized, and the atmosphere has since deteriorated. North and South Korea were technically still at war because no peace treaty was signed when the North Korea ended in 1953. In Japan, there's COVID concerns. Meanwhile, in Japan, Olympic Games Perpetua event was cancelled after COVID infections broke out at training camp for the Japanese water polo team, with 7 people testing positive for the virus. It follows the announcement of the Oscar leg and Olympic torch relay will be cancelled after infections in the city hit a record highs. There have been growing concerns in Japan that more infectious strains of the virus could be driving a potential fourth COVID wave in the country. It's going to be a short break, guys, and we'll be straight back with. We've got quite a lot to get through this afternoon, so stay tuned. Make sure you share and subscribe, and have a bit of LBC on a break, and come straight back and hit it hard. Hit UK politics hard. Move me 2 seconds. I want to dance with somebody.
In the UK for more than 48 hours, I don't need another test to go out. So basically, there's no test at all.
How safe do you feel?
I'm just amazed that they can allow this to happen. Their nearest neighbours, which is France, are on lockdown, and they're just letting the drivers in.
Very good. 345606097 people that were reaction to what was announced and not throughout the programme. The confirmation today that on the 12th of April, as you heard from Boris Johnson a moment ago, shops, zoos, hairdressers, outdoor pub facilities will all open, as will gyms in England. Rebecca Passmore is the UK Managing Director of Pure Gym. Did you dance a jig?
Certainly did. Look, good evening, Eddie, and thank you for having me on. Yeah, look, it's really for the country and certainly for us as a business that we're still on track for the 12th. The team and I have been, quite frankly, chomping at the bit to open our doors and welcome back our members, and that's been ever since the Prime Minister set out the roadmap a few weeks ago. And there's no changes to the plan. Well, I mean, it's just excellent news. And it's not just excellent news for us as a business. I mean, it's excellent news for our million members that we've got up and down the UK who are just so super excited. When will gyms reopen? That was one of the highest Google search terms last year. And when you look at the amount of petitions that have been going, with over 1 million signatures over the course of the last 12 months, we have got a lot across England, across the wider nations, all desperate to come back, maintain their fitness and mental well-being.
Will going to the gym be like from April the 12th? Experience be?
Well, during lockdown 1, us and quite frankly the rest of the industry, we've put in place some pretty extensive measures. We work really, really closely with SAGE and with Public Health England. And as we closed down going into lockdown 3, all the protocols that we have in place would be exactly the same as we reopen. We'll make sure that gyms are absolutely a safe place to work out and a safe place for our colleagues to be able to work within. Our gyms, effectively, they're really large in size. They range kind of 4 to 5 tennis courts in size. We've got excellent ventilation. We're able to really strictly control numbers, so people coming into the gym. We've got very, very strong enforcement of 2-metre social distancing, actually in a way that's quite impossible for the sectors to be able to do. And of course, put in place very, very rigorous cleaning regimes. We've had very, very low incident rates of transmission of COVID throughout the last 12 months across the whole sector and across our business. And effectively, we'll be opening in exactly the same position. We've had all of our staff back on furlough over the last couple of days, and we're doing that ahead of the 12th so that we can make sure that all of our clubs are really well set up from a protocol perspective.
I suppose for some of your customers, they're going to have to take it easy when they come back. Some of them will be, all joking aside, quite out of practice.
Well, I think for each different person, I think the lockdown has had a different impact on whether that be physical health or whether that be mental health. And actually, lockdown 3 specifically, we've been going into winter. It's been cold. It's been wet outside, pretty cold.
And if by proving that you have it as part of your status, well, already, you know that means you should isolate. And even if you say, right, I can't isolate, I can't afford to, it certainly should stop you going down to the pub, shouldn't it? Jonathan in Deal says, why does this lady keep calling it an ID card? It's not. It doesn't even need to have our names on it. And Jonathan says, thank you for the show. Thank you for listening to it, Jonathan. Let's get a text here from Mark from Read Headlines. Mark in Leeds. For God's sake, can't you see this is the thin end of the very sinister wedge? Yeah, that's what people keep telling me. Once you let this happen, it will never, ever be repealed, says Mark. Don't think that's true. It's 1:30. Let's get some headlines from Thomas Watts.
Boris Johnson says the government hasn't given up on allowing overseas holidays from May the 17th. The Prime Minister says he wants to make travel from England as flexible and as affordable as possible. All pupils across Scotland will be back in the classroom full-time after the Easter holidays. Children who are shielding will be asked to remain at home until the end of April. Police are working to establish if a body found in a pond in Epping Forest is that of a missing teenager. 19-year-old Richard Okorogheye from West London was last seen 2 weeks ago. A cold day with further snow showers across northern Scotland, sunny spells in southern England and Wales, a high of 8 degrees.
LBC. Get your green on the cooler way with cutting-edge tech to help reduce waste from Curry's PC World. Like the LG American-style fridge freezer with InstaView technology. Just knock on the fridge door and you can see what's inside without even opening it. By opening the door less often, you lose less cool air, which means food stays fresh for longer. Plus, with Curry's Go Greener range, you could get free delivery, installation and recycling. Terms and conditions apply. Visit currys.co.uk.
Powerful technology, dedicated expertise. Dell's total small business solutions ease any IT burden, so you can stay focused on achieving your goals. First, they assess your needs to find the right solution. Then they deliver the latest tech, from PCs with Intel Core processors to servers and more. Call 0800 085 4878 to speak to a Dell Technologies advisor now. That's 0800 085 4878.
T&Cs. At Honda, we've never looked to other car companies for inspiration. No, it's not a matter of an inflated ego. We just prefer listening to what people really need. For example, the new Honda Jazz Hybrid doesn't have the expected 6 airbags. It has 10, including one that prevents the driver and passenger from colliding with each other. And because we also listen to our conscience, all our safety features come as standard. No charge. Honda. The power of dreams.
You don't need an office. You need an office. You don't need a shop. You need a shop. You don't need contractors. Need contractors. What your business doesn't need 1 month, it might need the next. So at O2, we're offering flexible tariffs to help with the ups and downs ahead. Search O2 Business. We're here to help your business flex.
Terms apply. Life's going to start getting a lot busier soon, so wearing a mask or covering has never been more important. That's why Trusted PPE have introduced a 20% discount to continue to help stop the spread. Order before 4 p.m. weekdays for next day delivery from trustedppe.co.uk. Together, we've got this. Rated excellent on Trustpilot.
It's caution, a long way clear, just this final hole to take. Can she do it? The 4-timer is on. Annie Power and Ruby Walls clear as they turn into the home straight. Annie Power.
Neither of these horses actually finished. If your horse doesn't finish for any reason, you get a free bet back. Available every day of jump season. Cordle.
18 plus UK and Ireland online and phone. Applies to first real money single win. Each way bet of £1 or €1 plus per race from ATM and selected race days. Max £110 free bet per race. All T's and C's at call.co.uk. When the fun stops, stop.
Get ready for an incredible outdoor cinema with amazing comfort, all your favourite movies, and popcorn fights are allowed. Where is this amazing place? Your back garden. Thanks to very.co.uk, who have everything from 4K projectors to garden furniture. Because our house is our world, this very moment.
Sheila Fogarty on LBC.
With Curry's PC World. Great tech that's kinder to our planet.
I'll get to your calls in just a few moments. But the story of the missing student, Richard Okorogheye, the perhaps inevitable development, or certainly the development most feared by his family, has come to pass. The body of a man, as yet unidentified, has been found in Epping Forest in Essex. The Met Police say it's been told by their counterparts that the body was discovered in a pond in the woodland. In that area. Let's talk to Rachel Venables, LBC's correspondent. I mean, people will be familiar now with both Richard's face and his mother's desperate pleas for information and for help.
Yes, and sadly, Sheila, now it is just a case of waiting, particularly for Richard's mum and for the rest of us. Many people, I think, have been touched by his story, and we are just waiting for any updates after that awful news today, which is that just over 2 weeks after Richard Okorogheye went missing, police searching for the 19-year-old student have found a body in a pond in woodland in Epping Forest, and they are now in the process of trying to identify the person found. Now, I should stress, nothing yet has been confirmed, but of course, many close to Richard will be fearing the worst. And we know that detectives have already informed Rich's family of the discovery, who they say are now being looked after by specialist officers. Now, why the teenager travelled out to Loughton in Essex at all just over 2 weeks ago remains a mystery, Sheila. He suffers from sickle cell disease and had really been struggling, we've heard from his mum, with shielding through lockdown, only leaving the house to go to hospital for regular blood transfusions. And on the night that he left his home in Ladbroke Grove, which was on Monday the 22nd of March, it's understood he didn't take his daily medication with him. He also didn't bring a coat with him, even though his condition means that cold weather can cause substantial pain. So that has been a real concern for the police involved and, of course, for his family. Now, he was spotted on CCTV, first taking a bus, then a taxi out to Loughton in Essex, and he was spotted soon after midnight 2 weeks ago today, walking in the direction of Epping Forest. And that's why much of the police activity there searching has been focused really intensely on that patch of woodland. And yesterday, divers found a body in a pond, and there's a huge patch of the forest which has been cordoned off around a stretch of water. It's the Wake Valley Pond, and it sits just off one of the main roads that runs through the forest, usually, of course, popular with runners and dog walkers and families out for a stroll, now surrounded by police cars and officers, all of them trying to work out what happened to Richard and why.
Thanks very much, Rachel. Rachel Venables, LBC's correspondent. If there are any developments in that, we'll bring it to you here at LBC. Some text before we talk to Neil and Beverly on this question of COVID status certification. Sorry, Sheila, you're not always right. And I agree with the Lib Dem lady. I know I'm not always right. The Lib Dem lady, Layla Moran. Most amount of sense I've heard in a long time, says Michael. Graham says vaccine passports, in quotes. How long will they be required? Is this a permanent state of affairs, or will they be rescinded at some point? When? Until this is answered, they're an ethical dead end, says Graham. Neil in Pembrokeshire, Labour is right not to support this unless and until the government provide a clear business case, including pros, cons, costs, benefits and parameters. Cheers, says Neil. Another Neil in Newcastle. Hello.
Good afternoon, Sheila. I hope you're surviving your post-scoop weariness.
Just about. You're all helping me stay lively when all I want to do is put my head on a pillow and go to sleep. But no, I'm joking. I didn't drink quite that much, but anyway, it was lovely. It was lovely. Nice to meet friends again. Outdoors.
I'm glad you had a good time.
Outdoors, I did. Thank you. So, passports.
Yeah, I have real concerns about the social cohesion aspect of this and the sense of fairness. So I'm aware that they're being piloted as early as the 16th in a comedy club in Liverpool. And if I was a young person, that although I was at the least risk of harm, I'd sacrificed so much during this year. I'd be at the end of the queue for the vaccine, and I would be really angry if I was watching everybody else have access to pubs and venues that I was excluded from.
But I don't think you're going to get excluded if you haven't got COVID. That's the point of the checks and the certification.
So, the vaccine.
It's not just about yes, but it won't be just a vaccine passport. It will include, I imagine. I don't know. They're only just considering it. I imagine it will include details of your vaccination status, which is just useful to know, because even that doesn't mean you can't get COVID. As you know, we need to remind ourselves. So it will inevitably really be more about your COVID status rather than your vaccinated status.
Okay, so I've been looking at the government website today, and I can't find anywhere where even if I put in the results of a home test kit, that I would be able to upload in any reliable way what the result was.
Yeah, but that's why they need new tech to do it. That's what they're looking into, new technology, so that would be possible.
Do we not think the alternative, because although I take your point that obviously people can still pick up COVID and transmit it if they are vaccinated, although we are, the Uni of Glasgow report suggests that it's at least 35 to 50% reduced transmission on the first dose, and that the impact of lower. I just wonder if in a rush to try and open things up so quickly, we're spending the money in the wrong place, and whether it wouldn't be more sensible to use the money that we would be using for all of the testing in order to go into a public venue and probably so much social distancing, if that wouldn't be used better if we just put it to the venues.
What, quick lateral flow tests on the door?
No, I'm talking about whether it wouldn't be more effective to wait until we've got an 80-90% vaccination rate in the UK.
Well, then, I mean, we could stay as locked down as Australia and New Zealand are if we wanted to. Jacinda Ardern was talking about her decision to go for zero rates rather than managing the curve, which we've gone for. Different countries, different populations, different pressures. I don't think that's it's necessarily a valid comparison. But the reality is that we have decided, haven't we, that we've had enough of lockdowns. We've decided that they are an emergency tool, not the new normal until COVID dies away, because that could be years. So that's why all of these sort of finely tuned judgments are being made about when and what and how, because we've decided that full lockdown, I think rightly, is harmful.
I agree. I'm wondering though if the implication from what I heard from the press conference and what I've been seeing in terms of the potential pilots is what we're really talking about is an end to social distancing in certain conditions.
Which is what Layla Moran was talking about. I mean, but isn't the answer to that question inevitably yes, if you're talking about filling Wembley up for a football match?
Absolutely. And then I think it's just a question of when that will be so. So if you've got a 90% plus vaccination rate within a population and you control your borders, in terms of, because I'm well in favour of a vaccination certificate being required for foreign travel and for entry from other countries. But if within this population you have a 90% plus vaccination rate, which would then include within that 10% not being vaccinated, people that can't take it for medical reasons, for pregnancy, for issues of fear or belief or whatever else, if you're plus, you've got shot of it.
Yeah, but it's going to be a while, isn't it, before that?
It is. And if we think that actually how we recover from a disaster is incredibly closely linked to our social capital, so how we get on people within our own group, how we get on with people in groups not like us, and how much we trust the government, I'm strongly worried that the divisive impact of saying to, for example, some of our young people, people excluded on medical grounds, that just says, you will have to wait until you can come in and join us at the party. I just think it's a lot of money to mitigate things in terms of designing a whole new piece of kit in terms of the app.
So you say don't bother at all with it?
I say, yeah, basically. I mean, I think there are really important times for testing.
The thing is, but even in we tested in lockdown. You test if you got symptoms, and you're testing to find out whether you've got a deadly disease. So if the government facilitates the whole population to be able to reveal quickly to whoever needs to know, and I know there's a big argument about who needs to know, but that's the nub of the argument, isn't it? That you are safe to come onto their premises or not. Isn't that a good thing?
I think so, but I think we just need to think about when the timing was. So that the massive importance of testing last year and still now is because of the fact that we haven't got a 90+ plus percent vaccination rate. So I'm going to go and see my dad next week and help take him to hospital, and I will be doing a test before then if I can get my hands on one.
Yeah.
And I think that's entirely appropriate.
Give me a follow, Shirley Fine. I can't see a bit of yellow. Can't see it. I can't catch the bit. So we'll get on the rest. Right, take it out. I'll catch the bit anyway, mate. Peacocks. Peacock store, guys. Peacock store back in business, but only half of Peacocks will open. Thank you. I'll give you a follow back there shortly after, Gil. The collapsed fashion chain Peacocks has brought out of administration a move that includes transferring 2,000 jobs and 200 shops. The number means the other half, the 400 trading at the time of the chain's collapse last November, will not reopen as Peacocks. It was previously owned by Edinburgh Wool and Mills, EWM. The buyers are international consortium led by Peacock's former chief operating officer Steve Simpson. EWM Group is a private investment group controlled by the Day family, which is owned money by Peacocks and is supported by the consortium. A statement from the administrators, FRP, said the collapse of the chain was due to devastating effects of COVID-19 lockdown on the businesses. The Peacocks management team hope that with the support of their partners, suppliers and landlords, they will be able to reopen up to 200 stores. The statement added that the company hoped all 1,850 store staff who are currently on furlough will be able to return to work once stores reopen, along with more than 150 in head office and support. Lena. A similar deal was set in place with the EWM and Bon Marché brands, while another of EWM brands, Jaeger, was sold out to Marks and Spencer's, which intend to run it as an online-only business. Peacocks had 400 stores going into the pandemic a year ago and announced a series of job losses and store closures as it struggled to manage under the various restrictions. Analysts Susanna Streeter at Stockbrokers Hargraves Lansdowne said Peacocks will be much leaner, best emerging from the crisis, with its footprint of around 400 stores have under the new deal. Shedding the excess weight of underperforming outlets will help it to be more nimble, but getting the online offering into better shape will be even more crucial, given its rivals are seen as racing ahead. She added that there will be parallels with Sir Philip Green's Arcadia chain, whose start outlet was Topshop, like Arcadia Group, Peacock's former owner, Edinburgh Wool and Mill, is smuggled with an accelerated shift to digital brought on by the pandemic. It was another sprawling retail empire which collapsed with former rivals picking over the spoils. So there you go. Peacocks is looking back for business, become 12th of April. Shops, stores, all open back to some form of normality. I don't know how much of formality. We've been going for the Poundland shops, B&M's, QD's, all them stores that are actually open. There you go. Richard Okorogheye, which was going through the Essex Live. Richard Okorogheye, police find body and search for missing student. The 19-year-old has sickle cell disease, left home without medication on 22nd March. We just listened to this just now as well. Police searching for missing student Richard Okorogheye, 19, have found the body of a man in Epping Forest, Essex. The Metropolitan Police said it had been told by counterparts in Essex that the body was discovered in a pond in the woodland. Inquiries are underway to identify the body. Scotland Yard added that Mr Okoroghey's family have been informed and are being able to support it by specially trained officers. The Oxford Brook student who has sickle cell disease was last seen by his family on 22nd March when he left their home in Ladbroke Grove area of West London. That'd be such a shame if he was obviously it's bound to be something along them lines. It is in that he chucked himself in the river in Epping Forest Lake. Such a shame, pond even. What a shame. Police said he took a taxi to a residential street in Loudon, Essex, where he was last seen on CCTV in the early hours of the following day, walking towards Epping Forest. The force previously said Mr. Okorogheye's phone had not been in use since the disappearance. He did not take his medication or any money when he left home. Officers and police dogs were searching the forest for the fifth day when they made the discovery on Monday afternoon. Mr. Okorogheye's mother, Evidence Joel, previously said that her son had been struggling to cope with his business and IT degree. I mean, he's taking the medication and he's gone missing in the woodland. He's not taking the medication. Does that mean we're going to blame it not taking the medication? He took his own life. I mean, that's bad enough. To add, because he didn't take the medication, it's not necessary. He should have been, he should have been looked after, had an eye kept on all times. As someone with sickle cell disease, Mr. Okorogheye would only leave the house to go to hospital for a blood transfusion for his condition, his family explained. If anyone knows about bad blood circulation in English weather, being mixed race or coloured, which I'm that person. You don't know what they're going through in the car. It sometimes feels like the end of your tether. I mean, days like today, I don't know. I don't want to, ask for violins, but I can just imagine what's going through his head. I just put myself in that situation when I'm cold. You think you're at the end of your tether. What's the point? No matter what degree you get, no matter what job you get, you're going to be in the same predicament come winter months. These cold months that we're having now. We're in April. One day summer, next day winter. It's a shock to your system, shock to your men's rehabilitation. Crime scene take flutters in the trees around the Wake Valley Pond. A few Met officers stand guard. Shivering on a bright, freezing morning, they're supporting their Essex police colleagues, making sure nobody interferes with any evidence. There is urgent and important work to do, as there is a body to identify and a cause of death to establish. Detectives must piece together the puzzle of how that person ended up in the pond. Richard's family and friends are waiting anxiously for answers to those and many other questions. What drew the 19-year-old student from his home nearly 2 weeks ago? Why did he travel across London, then head for the forest after midnight? And was anybody else involved? To me, that is his body. I'm not going to jump to conclusions for the family, just in case anyone's family are listening. You don't know, but your heart's going to go to the family because it does sound like they're depicting him as a missing student in that pond. 3 people arrested after police seized 27 dogs, including 8 puppies at Dunmow address. 2 teenagers aged 14 and 16 have been arrested. 3 people, including 2 teenagers, have been arrested after officers seized 27 dogs as part of the police investigation into dog thefts. Essex police officers, alongside their RSPCA, carried out a warrant at an address in Braintree Road, Dunmow, on Thursday, April 1st. While at the address, they seized 27 dogs, 19 adult and 8 puppies, which include spaniels, lurchers, terriers, and French bulldogs, and a Rottweiler. It is believed that 8 puppies, which have been between 6 and 10 weeks old, may have been born on the site. Officers are currently in process of identifying the dogs to establish whether they are stolen and, if they are, to identify their owners to return them. The 3 people, a 54-year-old woman and 2 boys aged 14 and 16, were arrested on suspicion of theft and animal cruelty following the warrant. They have since been released under police investigation. PC Glenn Braden from the Uttersville Community Police Team said, we know the devastation of the loss of a much-loved pet can cause, and we take reports of theft seriously. We've been carrying out extensive inquiries into recent reports of thefts and This warrant comes as part of that. We're now working to identify the dogs we found at this address and if stolen, identify their owner so we can return them. If you have any information about the theft of the dog, then we need you to contact us. If you have any information about the theft of dogs or believe one of the seized dogs may be yours, please, you can call them on 101. You can quote incident 136 on the 1st of April. Alternatively, you can contact Crime Stoppers anonymously on 0800 555 111. 0800 555 111. So if you hear anything about the stolen dogs or even new stolen dogs in any area, call Crime Stoppers. Get it initiated in the right perspective to make safety of dogs to the right dog owners. Unions criticise misery, 50p rise in statutory sick pay. 50p rise. Minimum wage has gone up as well, not a great amount to the rate of inflation. Unions have criticised a 50p per week increase in statutory sick pay as miserly. SSP increases from £95.85 to £96.35 on Tuesday. But unions, including the Trade Union Congress, TUC, which is called the TUC, and Unite, says it is too little to live on. The TUC Generation Secretary, Francis O'Grady, said no one should be plunged into hardship if they need to self-isolate. Give them the 50p per week pay rise. The government spokesperson has said there was a comprehensive package in place to support those who need to self-isolate. It is also said many employers pay more than minimum level of statutory sick pay. According to the OECD, the UK has one of the lowest statutory sick pay rates of any developed country as a proportion of the average worker's earnings. However, its covers last longer than in most European nations. Ms O'Grady said low SSP payments could risk undermining public health efforts as lockdown eases across the UK. Many working in pubs and shops are on low wages and face having to survive on just £96 a week if they get sick, she said. The TUC is calling for travel to level up of the SSP pay to be raised in line with the national living wage, with standards of £8.91 per hour for workers aged 23 and over. It also warned that nearly 2 million workers do not earn enough to qualify for SSP, most of them women. Not as far as self-employed eligible to receive it, unlike it is most other European countries. Scandalous low. Len McCluskey, Unite General Secretary, said, time and again the government has been told that people will not isolate without a living income. Unless and until the government address the scandalously low level of sick pay provision in the country, any scheme to open the economy that rests on isolation but without income is half-baked and half will fail. A government spokesperson said there was a comprehensive package on financial support in place for workers who need to self-isolate to help stop the spread of coronavirus. That includes a £500 payment for those on the lowest incomes who have been contacted by the NHS Test and Trace. Many employers pay more than minimum level of statutory sick pay, and employers have up to 250 staff can be reimbursed the cost of up to fortnight statutory sick pay. Before I head off, ladies and gents, we've got May the 6th election coming up. Have you got your right to vote? Have you got your poll card? And polling stations will be open. It'll be the same predicament as in a supermarket, 2 metres apart, hands, face, space. Face coverings, wash your hands, sanitizer as you go in, 2 metres apart as you walk in. Give your verdict on your vote. Who are you voting for? Conservative, but pretty, for generations and generations. Predominantly been in charge, haven't they? It's a conservative government. my legacy, my aspirations have always been conservative because of my granddad in World War II. I don't know your perspective of your voting. Neoliberalism, fair trade system. That's what we're supposed to get. Some people might think it's a bit bitter a minute with the way lockdown's going on, but if there's any other government in charge, how would we get by? How would we get by safely? I mean, let's not take Joe Biden. I mean, Joe Biden's on the other side of the world to us at the moment, but he seems to be doing a good job after Trump. He's trying to be tackling gun crime in the US. He's going to send in armed forces and police officers in people's property to try and seize the guns. That'd be good. The best thing they could do to America, shape up the United States of America. Because quite frankly, no disrespect to Americans, United is a state. United is a state with them, people meant it well with a gun. Imagine, say, I know you're a woman listening, you're my wife, you've gone out with your girl mate for a day, come home, I'm in bed with your best mate, you've got a gun in your bag. You've got a gun in your bag. You come home with, well, your mental health, you catch him in bed with your best mate, you're going to pull the gun and shoot me in the head. That's what I'm saying, like, the normal person in reality with a gun gets angered at their boyfriend cheating, their friend lying to them. They're going to then put a gun out on them and shoot them. That's chaos that's going on in America. Over here we don't have that. We have knife crime, not sporadically. It's not happening all the time, but in America, you hear in New York, gun riots going off here, there, and everywhere. Mexico, all over the dangerous places that you hear in America going off time and time again. Beirut, you name it. You got shells, gun shells, bullet shells going off and on the floor on the pavement as you're crossing the road with your baby. Hello, you 5'4", how you doing, buddy? Thank you for coming through. Anyway, ladies and gents on YouTube, Castbox, thank you all for tuning in. It's been a phenomenal show. I'm gonna leave that there in the bag. Be back tomorrow, guys. How you doing up live? And while I'm here, peeps.